Hmm.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Britcham webinar. My name is Nick Burridge. I'm the president of Britcham Rio. For those of you new to Britcham, our mission is to support bilateral business between Brazil and the United Kingdom by creating diverse, inclusive, prosperous, and sustainable business and social environments. Sorry, guys, I think I was muted there for a second. So saying, for those of you new to Britcham, our mission is to support bilateral business between Brazil and the United Kingdom by creating diverse, inclusive, prosperous, and sustainable business and social environments that serve our members and help drive growth in trade, industry, services, and investment. We operate nationally, and we have branches in Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Paraná, and Minas Gerais. Membership in Britcham provides companies and individuals with the opportunity of networking with key individuals both here in Brazil and in the UK. And our goal is to provide a relevant forum for debates between members and also the public sector in a wide range of areas. Britcham is organised around committees and discussion groups that develop activities on several fronts. And to learn more about each of these committees, I invite you to visit our website at www.britcham.com.br. I'd like to open today by thanking those involved in the webinar. Firstly, to Britcham supporting members, whose names are presented on the opening slide. To Fabio Caldas, Vice President of Britcham Brazil, Clarisse Rocha, the Vice President of Britcham here in Rio, and the members of the Britcham Advocacy Committee that helped put this together, Melanie Coelho, Suelma Rosa, Leonardo Martins, Luis Guilherme Primos, and Fabio Caldas again. Thanks again for organising the event. Also joining us today is Anjoum Noorani, Consul-General of the United Kingdom in Rio de Janeiro. He'll be opening this session in the next few minutes. Thanks for joining us, Anjoum. And finally, to our distinguished speakers, Chicão Bulhões, Secretary for Economic Development, Innovation and Simplification of the City of Rio de Janeiro, and Alexandre Vermeulen, CEO of Invest.Rio. Thanks for bringing this highly relevant content and opportunities to our audience today. And finally, to all Britcham members, partners, and other guests present. So now I'll pass the word on to Anjoum Noorani, who will open the event today. Over to you, Anjoum.
Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for joining. And I just want to start out by just saying thank you quickly to Britcham, particularly thank you, Nick, for the invitation to come here and take part. Via you, I'd like to thank the rest of the Britcham British Chamber of Commerce, and particularly the Advocacy Committee. I mean, you guys are doing a great job in a relatively short space of time. You've not been around that long to kind of build up the Chamber's advocacy work. So thank you very much. And then obviously thank you to Chicão, and thank you to Alexandre for taking part and for accepting the invitation to join from the Prefeitura. I'd also like to say a quick hi to the people who are participating. I had a quick look at the participant list earlier. I can see a few people there I know, people like Carlos Peixoto, Richard Taylor. Hi to all of you guys. I hope you're all well. So I'm not going to speak long. I just wanted to give the quick welcome, and I wanted to speak to, I assume, the two people here who are part of the audience, which is those people who either have companies or are involved with or related to companies that are already in Rio, or people who are not in Rio but thinking about it. They might be based in other parts of Brazil, they might be based in other parts of Latin America, or they might just be in the UK who are thinking about it. So I'm not going to make a Rio sell per se, because actually I think that's the job of Alexandre and Chicão to do. But I will just give two reflections from being in Rio as consul general here for 18 months. And 18 months is a third of the way through my posting. And the relevance for, and it's a good time actually to give a few reflections of Rio, because for two reasons. The first is, we always say in diplomacy that it takes about a third of the time of your posting to actually understand a country and a city that you're in. So I'm sort of now at the end of that stage. And the second is Rio. I mean, Rio is such an emblematic city. You have, football, you have music, you have carnival, you have all of that stuff. It's a real world city. But to some extent, those are surface impressions, right? It takes a little bit of time to get past the surface impressions to understand a city a little bit more. So I feel like I'm now sort of reaching a little bit that point. And I wanted to make 2 points in terms of reflections here. The first one is to say, I think I would characterize my view of Rio as saying that I have a cautiously optimistic view of the future trajectory of Rio. Those people who have been here a lot longer than me know that Rio has come sort of in waves over the last 50 years. You had a wave up, and then you had the kind of period after the capital moved, and then you had a wave up for the Olympics, and then you had a period of arguably sort of minor decline, right? I think, I'm not sure if that's true, but I do think even if it is true, that we are on the start of a wave up. And that wave up, I think, is a particularly interesting one for Britain and for British companies. We have a long history of involvement in Rio's development. You look at the infrastructure that was created in the 17th, 18th, 19th century, a lot of it was British. You look at the Barão de Mauá railway station, that was a British one. If you look at the, it's designed on the basis of British designs. If you look at the Rio-Niterói bridge, that huge emblematic bridge, a big chunk of that bridge was actually manufactured in Scotland and then brought down here. So there is a long history. There's also a very active presence of British involvement in Rio. We've got a lot of companies here. There's a new one, Halion, which just set up. I know Chicão was at the launch of Halion a few weeks ago. And there are a lot of institutions here in Rio that are either British, like the British and Commonwealth Society, or Brazilian institutions which have a British link. You look at the Museu da Manhã, for example. It has a live and active partnership with the Science Museum in the UK. And then if you look at the future, I think there's a good argument to say that there is a lot of possibility for Rio in the next few years and then ahead. The big thing happening next year is G20. The G20 is meeting here in Rio in November. Next year is also the 20th anniversary of the signing of a sister city arrangement between Rio and Liverpool in the UK. So there's a 20th anniversary coming up. In 2026, we've just announced that we're going to have a UK-Brazil season of culture. And then if you think about the longer term, for a lot of things that Britain is interested in, Rio is very important. I'll just pick two, for example. We're talking in trade terms about pivot away to trading with the rest of the world. Rio is a gateway for British companies thinking about the whole of Latin America. The other big existential challenge facing us is climate change. Rio arguably offers the center of a possibility for an energy transition, not just for Brazil, but actually for the rest of the region and for the rest of the world. So that's the first point I want to make, which is I think there's a cautious optimism. And what I would say is the reason I say cautious is I do not underestimate the challenges of companies either setting up or working here in Rio. I would actually invite Alexandre to be able to address those when he goes through his presentation. The ones that most often are mentioned to me are things like public security, and the state of public security in the city, licensing and bureaucracy. And I know that Chicão is doing a great job trying to simplify things, but it is a question that often comes up. The question of the legal system and how people navigate the legal system, and taxation. Those are the kind of issues that come up. And I would invite both Chicão and Alexandre when they talk, just to see if they can address any concerns that any companies here might have about those, right? So cautious optimism. The final second and quick point I'd like to make is that we are here to support. So the UK government has a network of embassies and consulates across the world. Here in Brazil, we have an embassy in Brasilia. We have 2 consulate generals in Sao Paulo and in Rio, and we have 2 consulates in BH and in Recife. That gives us a bit of breadth. We also have probably almost of the order of 100 people just working on trade across Brazil. Some of those teams are based here in Rio, so the energy team, the defense team, the infrastructure team. Some of them are based in Sao Paulo, food and drink, automotive, for example. But, and this is one of the innovative things for our network, as opposed to other diplomatic networks, we operate as a network. So the expert in Sao Paulo will come over here, and the energy experts from here will go over there. So we have the depth as well that you can get from that number of people. And finally, and this is my job, we have other levers that we can deploy. So my job is to make political links, for example, with the state and city governments here. We're able to deploy those political links if British companies need them in order to set up or to advance their businesses. And we're very keen to do that. We also have a very active set of funds via or the work on climate change. Those funds are also ways that we use to unlock opportunities, particularly for British business, if we can find them. So I would conclude there. Those are my second point there is to say we are here to support. We're very open to ideas of things that we can do that will help support the introduction or the expansion of British companies here. Thanks very much for coming, and I look forward to the presentation.
Thanks so much, Anjoum. You've always been a great friend of the chamber, and thanks for that introduction. So just quickly before passing on to Alexandre, just a little bit about the dynamics of the webinar today. So we're being streamed live through Zoom, and we're also available on Britcham's YouTube channel. After the presentation, we will open up for a Q&A session at the end. Those questions can be made through the Zoom platform. So please feel free during the presentation to note down your questions. And when you do so, please just inform your name and the company that you're from for identification purposes. At the end, Clarisse Rocha will moderate the questions. I do apologize in advance if we can't cover all of them, but we'll try our best to cover as many questions as we can. So without further ado, our guest speakers today, firstly, we have Alexandre Vermeulen. Alexandre is the president of Invest.Rio. Invest.Rio is the City of Rio's investment attraction and promotion agency, which aims to connect companies, investors, and initiatives within the economic ecosystem of Rio de Janeiro, generating positive financial impact for Rio and improving the city's image. With extensive experience in the area of administration and marketing, Alexandre's goal is to bring high-impact investments to Rio, especially in the areas of technology, sustainability, and inclusion. We'll also be joined later by Chicão Bulhões. Chicão is a lawyer from Rio and is currently the Secretary for Economic Development, Innovation, and Simplification of the City of Rio. And this portfolio is responsible for several projects. So just some examples: Carioca Programas, Porto Maravilha, the Web Summit Rio, Crypto Rio, Center of Energy and Finance of Tomorrow, and various others. Chico Secretary is also at the forefront of various initiatives that aim to simplify life for Rio citizens and attract more investments and opportunities to the city. So hopefully you're much in line with Anjoum's questions. Alexandre, I'll pass the word over to you.
Okay, so first of all, many thanks, Anjoum, to be a really big supporter from Rio. We appreciate that. Hello, everyone. I want to start by sending my warm greetings to the audience and many thanks to Mr. Nicholas Burridge, Mrs. Clarisse Rocha, and the General Counsel Anjoum Noorani for their kind invitation. Okay, I will share my screen with you right now, and I will promise to make a very short 15 minutes presentation. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, I hope everybody's seeing my screen right now. If not, please tell me. And I am Alexandre Vermeulen. I am CEO of the Invest.Rio. Invest.Rio is the company from the municipality of Rio de Janeiro responsible for promoting and attracting direct investments to the city. Okay, we work with several sizes of businesses, from startups to global companies. And we offer a variety of services, such as helping companies to identify opportunities, and connect them to the city business environment. So we can provide information at all. And I will talk a little bit about me, is a very short history. Okay, this is the first time I am in the public sector. I am really amazing with of the high quality management team I found out here, led by Mr. Eduardo Paz, our mayor. And I used to work in several companies, from telecom industry, entertainment companies. And at the end of the day, we were selling mobile phones, we were selling other stuff. It was at the end of the day, and we were selling a product or a service. And now, when I am selling Rio de Janeiro for the first time, and I am really, my job now is selling Rio, I can say that this is one of the best products I could sell, because there are so many attributes, so many positive attributes that we can find out in Rio. I will say some for you. Some of you are in Rio, some of you have not been here, but I would start that saying that Rio is really a cool city. We have a very good lifestyle with a vibrant culture. The city is green, is very beautiful to live. To have to raise our kids. It's a really fantastic city, really, to any executive live. Okay, it's very good. 1 hour ago, I was running in the lake, so this is something that you cannot find out in any other city. Okay, you can choose about the lake, you can choose about the sea, and this is not only this. Okay, we are in the southeast of Brazil, okay, in the region that concentrates half of the GDP of Brazil. We are very close to São Paulo, the first city of Brazil, and we are not just the second city, but as a second city, we are bigger than 80% of Latin American countries. Okay, so our GDP. It's huge comparing to other cities in Latin America. We have $60 billion of GDP, and this is just after the pandemic. So let's see the other stats. I believe we will have an increase, a significant increase on that. We have almost the same. We are almost the same size of London. If I'm not wrong, London has about 7.2 or 3 million people around, and we have lots of very high quality students, because we have a set of very good universities just 50 kilometers around from downtown. So I will not list for you, but we have most of we have like really the top 15 universities in Brazil. 10 of them are in Rio de Janeiro. In addition, as Mr. Anjoum told before, we are increasingly our safety. Okay, this is the stats that I have. This is from 2 years ago, but year by year we are increasing our safety. And I could say that the last stats by the Economist, we are even safer than São Paulo in some stats. Okay, so this is very important to say that, because everybody, Rio has a narrative that we are very unsafe, but I can say to you that we are a big city. I have never been still robbed before here, and but this is because we are walking around. As I walk around in New York, or I would go around in other city, we have to take care, of course, but it's a big city with all the problems we have, for sure, but this is not impacting the daily life of our average executive. Okay, we have a very growing infrastructure as well. We have 3 airports, one international one, 2 regional ones. We have lots of mobility transportation system with subways and trams and speed bus. And we have 2 industrial districts, okay, ready to receive industries. And we have also 1 technological park ready to receive RD&I investments. And I could say that we are a city of full of opportunities. I will show it for you. And invest, I would say also that this is because we are increasing our jobs. We do believe that foreign investments can drive for this increasing, can drive for the economic growth, can bring to us fresh perspectives. And Invest.Rio plays a crucial role on this, so on attracting and facilitating foreign direct investments to the city. And we have a rich array of opportunities, all of them aligned to our city's strengths and vocations. We are very strong on health sectors, on the real estate, on IT ones. We have the best universities related to IT area. They are located in Rio de Janeiro. We are the second financial sector in Brazil. We are bringing lots of new, I would say, new financial segments. From carbon credit and crypto fintechs. Another vocation that we have as well is the creative economy. This is very strong. I will talk about that. Energy and oil and gas, sure. All related to renewable energy, sustainable energy, climate economy. This is one of our vocations, and biotech. One is our main vocation is the sustainable economy. The climate economy for us is very important. We are the main hub in the country of oil, gas, and energy. All the big companies are located here, the major ones. We have an international reputation. We are really green. We have a forest in the middle of the city. And this is one of our vocations too. We are really fond of attracting investments in this vertical. And we are right now, I believe Chicão will talk about that in deep. We are just launching in a few weeks a hub of RD&I focused on sustainability and development of the green economy. We have already the bigger players in the market with us. And this is very important to us because this is one of the hubs that we will launch in a few weeks. And this is all related to research, development, and innovation to the green economy. This is one segment in one vocation that's very important to us. Another one that is very important to us, I will not stress all of them, okay? But this is related to creativity, okay? We are a city that creates the samba, the bossa nova, the carnival, lots of music styles. Creativity is in our DNA. Really, we export lots of films and soap operas around the world. We have lots of studios here related to movie and advertising. So this is a city made for creativity. Okay, and the creative economy is very strong here as well. I would say this is the main part of our GDP. And in addition to that, because all the creativity goes to digital, this is something that we are facing. Okay, we have we have lots of universities here that is really, I would say, investing in developing programmers. We are very high on that. So we have universities here that is leading for that. More than 5 universities really related to create IT parks, technological parks. So this is very important to us, the innovation area. And this is one of our main objective is to make Rio the technological and innovation city in Latin America. Okay. From now on, we have almost 100 startups. We have created 4 unicorns so far. And I just said, looked today in the morning time that we could jump 35 in the rank, 35 position in our rank. So we are now the second city in Brazil regarding innovation and startups. Okay, we have lots of spaces to explore. Okay, in Rio de Janeiro for foreign companies, for British companies. I imagine, for example, the gaming company and in Britain that is very strong. We can also have receive here companies from the film and music companies. Anyway, we have space for creators, lots of creators. We have 2 big spaces here in Rio, ready to start to receive. This is one of them in the Porto Maravilha. This is the port area. We are receiving companies from e-commerce companies, digital platform companies that want to improve their influencers, improve their creators. We have already these studios. They are already to receive you. Okay. And in addition, we have also two technological parks. One of them is Maravalli Park. This is being under construction. We will launch it in October. Okay. This hub, Chicão, maybe we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But this hub is half of the hub is leading by the IMPA. This is one of our main university in Brazil, the Institute of Pure and Applied Mathematics. And the other half will be for the companies, for the labs of these companies, and for lots of startups related to them. So this will be really an open innovation hub. Another technological park we have in Rio de Janeiro is the technological park from the Federal University. This is a technological park more related to the oil and gas and the green sector, but we have also L'Oréal that has lots of improvements there in the beauty tech. So this is another park that is open to receive RD&I programs. And we have our center that we control everything that is happening in Rio de Janeiro. This is more than 12 screens with IA, but in fact, what I want to say here is that they have also a small hub of smart city development. So all the British companies related to IT, smart cities are really welcome to here. We have all these running today. Okay? And the other sector, this is another one. This is very important to us, is the health sector. The health and biotech sector. We are led by Fiocruz. This is one of the biggest laboratories in Latin America. We have also Biomanguinhos related to Biocruz to develop all the RD&I research for them. Okay, and we have also Embrapa related to biotech and agrotech, and we have a bigger segment of health here in Brazil. The private health is very big, it's very strong, and mainly in Rio. Rio, I would say that this is the hub of the health techs in the country. And we have also some opportunities related to the City Hall. Okay? The City Hall is opening some PPPs. Okay, so all companies that are interested in transportation, in healthcare management, and leisure and entertainment, we have the PPPs and concession already ready to receive investments. All of them are open to talk to you, okay, and I can facilitate that. We have other kind of verticals. And finally, just to be in the time, okay, we, Invest.Rio, we already talked to more than 350 companies this year, okay, lots of chamber of commerce, government agencies, and related to the countries, lots of universities, C-levels, hundreds of C-levels. So we can help you. Okay, this is some British companies here. What I can say is that we can help you, okay, and address you to the right people, okay, to talk. I can provide you all the information you need. I can make you a very good soft landing for all your companies, okay? And if you are interested, we have the QR code from our site, okay? And this WhatsApp, it's directly my WhatsApp. So if you can, if you want to speak to me, okay, and I am directly talking to you in a few hours, okay? So many thanks. And I would say that like Anjoum, Rio de Janeiro is one of the best places to live, work, and invest. And I hope all of you can talk to me as soon as possible.
Thanks so much, Alexandre.
Okay.
Chicão, I think you've joined us now. I'll pass the word over to you.
All right, hi everyone. You're listening to me?
Yeah, hear you fine, Chicão.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Great. Well, first of all, it's great to be here with you. I'm sorry I was a little late. But, you know, Alexandre explained a little bit more of some of our projects, and I would like to give you some more of our political view of where the Rio de Janeiro City Hall is moving, our priorities, and most of all, what are we seeking in this new moment that the city lives, right? So first of all, the creation of our secretary, right? So it didn't exist in the first place. So we gave a not simple name for a secretary that has simplification in its name. So, but we basically separate in three words: so innovation, simplification, that results also in economic development. We wanted to be very sure that people understood what our priorities are and what our attributions are. And we started in 2021 creating Invest.Rio. Alexandre here, I thank him for changing the order here of speaking with me, but we created Invest.Rio. Rio didn't have a company or a specific government branch to work with the private sector or investors or governments that wanted to make investments in the city. So we changed this, and this, I believe, was right. Because we created Invest.Rio, we improved a lot our relationship with governments and also private companies, and also with big events that started to come again with Rio, to Rio. I mean, Rio has hosted Olympic Games. Rio hosts every year a big New Year's Eve party, hosts every year a carnival that attracts a lot of tourists. So we are a city very used to make big events. We have the structure to make big events, and that's why we're now being again chosen by, for example, the 50 best restaurants competition in Latin America to be here. A Web Summit, one of the biggest events in technology in the world. Now a new event is coming to Rio and changing from São Paulo to Rio that is called Open Innovation Week. Also focus on startups. And all of this is happening mostly because our main goal is to establish Rio as the capital for innovation in Latin America. And we're not creating this out of nowhere. I mean, Alexandre talked a little bit more about some of the projects that we have here now happening related to this theme specifically, but Rio forms a lot of people. I mean, we have a lot of universities here. We produce a lot of good brains. We produce a lot of knowledge in the city of Rio, but unfortunately, all this knowledge goes away. Goes to Europe, goes to São Paulo sometimes, and goes to United States. For many people that are forming here, that are being formed in our universities, they look elsewhere to establish their companies or to start their own professional lives. That's what we want to change. And our goal here is to keep the brains in the city and to attract new brains to the city. At the end of all of what we're talking here is to attract people and people who make economy works, especially when we're talking about cities economy. So our focus is on good people that want to create their companies, start their companies, and also to start their professional lives and having opportunities here. Not only young people, but also people from all ages. So when we started, we had to create a more friendly environment to do business. We approved a law called Lei da Liberdade Econômica, which is Economic Freedom Act in Rio. We're going to launch a new system for everyone who's opening their companies in the city or formalizing their companies in the city in the next 2 weeks. And basically will be 100% self-declaration if you are a business that is considered to be low risk business. You're not a big industry, you don't have a significant environmental impact, you don't have a significant urbanistic impact, so you're going to be able to open your company in just a few minutes that it takes to you to answer some of the questions that will be in Carioca Digital. So I believe this will be a major change for people opening. It will be really easy. Our next goal is to translate it to English, so you can do it from anywhere in the world. But I mean, we're going to start with Portuguese in the system in the next weeks. So I think that this will gain a lot of productivity. We changed the process, and this is in my on my watch now. We changed the process for licensing in environmental issues and urbanistic issues. So whenever you want to build something in the city, open a new business in the city, and you have to take a license for an environmental license or an urbanistic license, now you have to talk to us, the Secretary of Economic Development, because we believe that there is absolutely no economic development now in the days that we live that doesn't talk about sustainability, and specifically that don't make incentives for people to formalize themselves. I mean, it shouldn't be impossible to obtain a license and to work formally. This protects the environment, this protects the urban side of the city, right? So we changed this process. We're being able to give some big licenses for big projects in 45 days, 40 days. Talking about urbanistic license, when you need to make a big construction in the city. Regarding, for example, the environmental licenses, only this year, changing this new system process to analyze faster the requests that we have. We already gave more licenses in this 3 months in 2023 than the whole last year. So this, I think, shows that we're gaining a lot of productivity for you guys that want to invest in the city and be part of it on a formal side of the city. Of course, that's what we want, of course. So we called it LICIN, Licenciamento Integrado, which is called integrated license. So it's basically, it looks like a one-stop shop. So we should look like this. But we're still improving this, but we already made a lot of gains in the last years. We have a program called Invest.Rio, also talking about regulatory matters here. Basically, if you want to test a new service or product in the city, and you're not sure if the legislation can give you like a safe environment to do so, instead of fighting against the city or just implementing it without knowing and without being sure that you're not going to have some kind of regulatory issue, you can ask the city hall to work with you. So it's called Invest.Rio. Basically, we provide you a report and you provide us a report about what happened by the time that you were testing your innovative product or service for some time, for during a period of time, and in a specific part of the city. So you can now talk to the city before you try this innovative product or service that you want to bring to Rio de Janeiro and test them. We have a program focused on forming developers. We know that we have a word, developers or programmers, but we call it programadores cariocas. So basically, we understand that the world is looking for people who know how to develop softwares and programs and web designs. And we understand that our educational system is still, it lacks this kind of teaching for people who want to go to the market and who want to try new opportunities in this new area that we have. And basically every single company nowadays is trying to look for this workforce. And we have a lot of good people, specifically in the poorer areas of the city, that could be this workforce. So the City Hall is investing now 40 million reais. So we invested 20 million last year and now 20 million this year. And next year, until next year, we want to have 5,000 new developers in the city that knows how to program, that could be hired by the companies that want to establish themselves in Rio. We are a crypto-friendly city right now, so you can pay your real estate taxes, IPTU, using crypto from anywhere in the world. Companies that exchanges can make their registration here at the City Hall and can provide this service to their clients. So this is now holding by a decree. This is happening right now. So some companies are now making their registration to provide the service for their clients. We just approved what we call ISS neutral, that is a neutrality tax. And I think we are, as a city, a pioneer in this area here right now in the city of Rio. Basically, we are creating incentives for companies in the carbon credit chain. So we reduced the service tax that most of the people that work and operate in the financial market pay in Rio. That is 5%. We reduced it to 2% for carbon credit related activities. And of course, we're aiming to make Rio the capital as well as green investments. We want people to access and to understand that while we are discussing on the national arena a carbon market, regulated market, we want companies to access the voluntary carbon market. So we're creating all the incentives to be the big hub and the big place where everything happens related to this theme, specifically because we have a lot of energy companies here, and Rio needs to be, and we are working hard for this, to be this hub for the discussions of energy transition. The state of Rio depends a lot of oil, depends a lot of the royalties paid by this oil. So we need to be the center of the discussion for energy transition in the world. This is the future of Rio. So we're working a lot to create these hubs and to make incentives. And we have the Energy Center of Tomorrow that Alexandre talked here that we are already building, that we want companies to be part of it, governments to be part of it, because we want to have the regulators government. We want to have companies and platforms discussing this matter in Rio and implementing these new solutions, testing them in Rio de Janeiro. Also in this new law that we approved, we basically approved that 60 million reais, that would be nowadays $10 million, could also be used to make incentives for companies working in this carbon credit chain, could make their operations in their carbon market, in the voluntary carbon market, and can seek to reduce their taxes in the City Hall. Ask the City Hall. Of course, you have to make everything. You cannot make greenwashing in this. We're pretty strict, but you can ask for, if you are a law firm, for example, or if you produce T-shirts, or if you sell them, if you're a commerce activity, you can, if you go and compensate your carbon emissions, you can ask the City Hall to reduce specifically your taxes related to that amount that you paid or operated in this carbon credit market or platform that you operate. So this is also a pioneer idea and project that we're trying to implement here, and trying to companies that are established in Rio to become greener and to compensate their carbon emissions. We have goals right now, so 2050 to be carbon neutral, until 2035 to have 40% of our jobs, green jobs in the city of Rio, We have a district of green economy, specifically in the heart of the city center of Rio de Janeiro. And talking about city center, we have, of course, all the challenges that all the major cities in the world had after COVID. And during COVID, we made a lot of course, auxiliary emergency measures when we came to government in 2021. This helped to secure at least 30,000 jobs in Rio, and this was important for us to now take faster, recovery from the city. And we are also now approving a lot of tax and also urbanistic incentives in the city of Rio de Janeiro, and also we're paying subsidies for cultural activities in the city. So this is called Reviver Centro. It's already approved. The Reviver Centro 1 is already approved, and we are now approving Reviver Centro 2, a new version, even more aggressive with incentives for companies to establish themselves in the downtown area. We have Porto Maravilha that Alexandre talked a little bit for you guys. Will be a new university in the city of Rio with a major institution called IMPA, Institute of Mathematics. They will start next year. So they will have 400 students per year in mathematics, science, data science, programming science, and physics. So these guys will be 100% scholarships paid by the government. We wanted to be the elite in the country, in Latin America, for good people. And this is transforming the port. And we're going to have also a hub there. So we invite all the companies and governments to be part of this hub that we want to create in this new area where we also reduce taxes to 2% for technology companies. And we're expecting now to have 15,000 new people living in that area. We have at least 6 new buildings being built right now and will be ready in next year or 2024. So there's a lot going on in the city of Rio. We're very excited with this new moment that we have. Of course, we're trying to get back the credibility of Rio de Janeiro. We are a global city. We are a city that represents the soul of Brazil. We're fighting a lot in the Galeão matter. If you guys have to fly to Rio, you know that now you have to go through São Paulo. We think that's a mistake. I think there's a regulatory mistake. So the city of Rio and the government of the state are together in this fight for us to have more connectivity of flights coming and going from our international airport. So there's also a big regulatory fight that our secretaries, our people here are working a lot to change, and we expect to have a decision from the President Lula. Ideally still this month about this issue, and we really want to make it back. So, I think there's a lot we can do together. I think we have a good mission here, and we have a goal, and I think it's clear the path that we're moving. So it would be great to count on you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chicão. After hearing this presentation, I'm very glad that I live in the right city because I live in Rio. Thanks so much for both presentations from Alexandre and from Chicão. It's amazing to hear about all the ideas that are actually coming out of the paper. So it's not only plans for the future, but especially I think from the businessmen around this webinar, hearing men and women, of course, hearing about practical solutions, cutting through bureaucracy. I'm sure it's music to everyone's ears, and reducing taxes, and of course making it a green environment. That's definitely something really good. And we're going to start now a Q&A session. We still have a few minutes. I already saw that some of the people sent some questions through the chat. So I'm going to start now with a dear colleague. I know Carlos Peixoto, who is also part of the executive committee here, Rio, from H2 Allium, sent a question. Which I'm going to read now. So in the world's mind, Rio is the postcard of Brazil, and Rio has hosted United Nations Rio 92 conference, using the expression sustainable development was coined back then. I think you've mentioned a few, but please can you quote some of the actions that Rio is taking in order to maintain the lead in the environmental agenda of Brazil. So I'm passing back to you.
Well, we have a lot of plans already established in the city. We have now a sustainability plan that was approved in 2021. We have goals that are aligned with the international goals of reducing gas emissions in our side here. So we're working to have a greener environment. We're working with the federal government and expecting the federal government to approve a regulated carbon market really soon. Rio has the SEC from Brazil, the CVM, established in Rio. So Rio has the potential to be the place where all the regulatory matters regarding this theme are discussed. That's what we're seeking as well. As I just mentioned, we approved a new and pioneer legislation regarding to incentives, tax incentives for companies to access these carbon markets, specifically the voluntary carbon markets, while we're waiting for Brazil to discuss the regulated market. We're trying to create hubs, and we're working to create hubs together with Rio Energy Bay, that is an MIT project. It's called MIT REAP, and we called Center of Energy and Finances of Tomorrow. That is a hub where we want companies to be established, platforms, governments, and also working with universities such as UFRJ, COP, and PUC-Rio, for example. Just to give an example of two universities, we're working a lot on this team. So I've just been in a big event in PUC-Rio. It was specifically designed for this theme. So, we want to be the capital where the great minds talk about this theme. We have the energy companies. So I think this is an asset in this discussion because I think they're the most interest companies, and some of the industries are here that are in the center of these great discussions in Brazil. We have BNDES here, which is the National Bank for Economic Development in the country, that is also going this direction. I think the presence in Rio of this bank it's good. Not only for the projects that we're making, but because they're working really closely with the City Hall to implement them and to have a good intelligence on implementing them. We're changing urbanistic law in the city right now because we want people to live just right next where they work. So this is happening right now in the city center of Rio de Janeiro. This helps a lot in this theme because Rio grew along the time to the west zone of the city, and this created a lot of challenges for us because we needed to make a big investment in infrastructure to transportation, and also this created a lot of pressure in areas that used to be more preserved, and we have some major challenges in urban habitations and infrastructure in these areas. So we're changing the urbanistic law to make it easier for you to build these new homes, these new buildings where you already have infrastructure, where you already have economic activity. So we're changing this right now in Plano Diretor, in our director's plan for the city as well. So this is being voted probably this year in Câmara dos Vereadores, where the City Hall representatives are. So there's a lot of change going and coming for the city. We don't expect for you to feel this absolutely immediately, but for sure, for the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a lot of changes because of these regulatory changes that we're making. Specifically talking to sustainability and green economy, this is all connected, of course.
Thank you, Chicão. I think that answers. We also have a question from Richard Taylor, perhaps more towards Invest.Rio, but you're also welcome to comment. He says Richard Taylor is a chairman of Tech Ventures and also a counselor of Britcham. He says, congratulations on the presentations and the innovative initiatives. How do you see the development of an ecosystem of the private sector investors in Rio to support the most innovative technology startups in their highest risk and most difficult to finance stages? So we know that there is a balance there. And how do you see the private sectors acting there?
Well, I think the private sector is the main actor here. I don't think it's the government. I think our part here is to create a regulatory environment that is safe and that is simple, and that, of course, does not create more difficulties for startups and companies starting in Rio that they already have. So I think our mentality here, and specifically from Mayor Eduardo Paes, is okay. So we want to open a red carpet. We want to ask, what do you need? We want to help. We want to break down barriers. We want to create a simple, safer environment for you to work. And we want to help you to create these hubs where you can connect to good people. I think that's what we are doing with Porto Maravilha. That's what we're doing with Centro de Energia e Finanças do Amanhã. And we're working pretty close right now to the guys in a place in Leblon called Hashtags. They created a place called Hashtown, which is great. I mean, the guys started as a crypto hub, but now they're not only crypto hub. I mean, they are the hubs for the venture capitalists and private equity firms in the city of Rio. They're having a lot of good events. Just an example for you guys, Sam Altman from ChatGPT just came to Brazil, and he didn't go to São Paulo. He came to Rio. And where did he go? He went to the Hashtown. He made a good presentation. He had dinner with the mayor. He talked to the city about, I mean, how could they be more part of the city? I'm just giving you an example of a guy that is hot right now in the world, but we're receiving a lot of new executives. We're bringing big events like Web Summit, for example, and also the Open Innovation Week. We have a Rio Innovation Week. We have Rio 2C. All these events are great quality events for you to make some network, for you to have this environment where you go to a bar in Leblon, Ipanema, or somewhere else, and you find an investor, a startup, and you can just maybe drink a beer or a coffee with this possible investments that you have, and you understand that environment that you're living in. You can go to the beach, play your beach tennis, or go in your Hawaiian canoe. I don't know what the name it is, or you can go to a club, and then you find someone interesting to make business. I think our role here is basically to create this environment, to bring these people here, and to make all the efforts, being it an event or a regulatory effort or creation of hubs, for you guys to have this environment, this live environment here in Rio, and wanting to be here and craving to be here. And also we created a program called Digital Nomads. Specifically, our tourist secretary created this Digital Nomads where you can have some fast tracks and helps to establish yourself in the city of Rio. So we are also helping with this. So we're making all the efforts to create this environment, but the main actor here is the private sector. We need the private sector here, and understanding that we have a new moment and we're living a new moment in Rio, and that you have the possibility to have a quality of life together with a good networking and business environment for you to establish your company.
Perfect. Well, I think with that, we're going to come to the end of our webinar today. I'm going to leave 15 seconds as a final wrap up for Chicão and Alexandre to say your final remarks, and then I'll say our thanks to finalize the webinar. So Alexandre, would you like to go first?
Okay, so Richard, Carlos, and all the audience here that wants to talk to me, okay, you have my WhatsApp in the presentation. The presentation is available for you. Okay, so I will just say that come here, come to Rio de Janeiro. We are a really good place to live and invest. Okay, so we are welcome, all of you.
Thank you, Chicão.
Well, once again, it was great to be here. I mean, we're making all the efforts to change this narrative about Rio, to recover credibility, to show good projects. I mean, we're talking to universities, investors, companies, we're talking to governments, we're showing these projects, and we're asking you guys two questions. First, how can we help? And second, I mean, what can we do for the city to be an option for you guys to establish yourselves here and to change your companies to Rio, or to establish your companies? And how can we help the ones that are already here, that were resilient and stayed in Rio de Janeiro? How can we help you guys to have a successful path and keep investing, keep staying here. So great to be here. I think Invest.Rio is a point of contact for you guys. Of course, I'm also personally available whenever you want. I don't know if Consul is here. Also, thank the Consul for the recent meeting that we have in the City Hall. I think British companies are already in Rio, and we can improve this even more, specifically looking to greener economy. Rio wants to be the center. I think has all the potential to be the center of the discussion. These discussions.
Perfect. So I would like to first thank our incredible speakers, the Secretary Chicão Bulhões and Alexandre Vermeulen and their teams for all the support here. I would also like to thank the British Chamber, Nick Burridge, the President of the Britcham in Rio de Janeiro, who opened our events, Mr. Fabio Caldas, the Vice President of Britcham Brazil, for the partnerships in conducting this event, but also for the Britcham staff, members and partners and other guests present here today. I would like, I know we had a question about the presentation. We will ask Invest.Rio whether the presentation can be made available. If the presentation can be made available, we will send it by email to those who have registered today. And if you haven't registered, if you're watching through YouTube, you can email Clara from the Britcham team. Her email is csasse@britcham.com.br. Okay. And I would like to invite everyone to access the upcoming events of the Chamber on our website, which is www.britcham.com.br. And you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel and share the link of the recording of this webinar. A highlight is that we're looking forward to have this month a luncheon with Shell, and we're looking forward to have everyone there present. So with that, I'm going to conclude the webinar, and it's going to be great to see you in the other initiatives of the Chamber. Thank you all. See you in other initiatives. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.